Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is Gerard and Diana back with Dream Dome Scandinavia, but we are the USA representatives. And what are we going to talk about today, Miss Diana?
Well, we're going to talk about glamping today. We're going to talk to people who are interested in maybe having their own glamping business, or maybe people who already have a glamping business and they'd like to expand and add the very spectacular Dream Dome to their portfolio of properties that they can offer.
So yeah, like what we mean is that our target audience is anybody who's interested in the domes, but specifically, we're talking about some of the possibilities for people wanting to go into the glamping business.
Exactly.
And, we're basing it on the trip that we took to Maine. That was our first foray into exploring these businesses. And it was really fruitful. We had a great trip, didn't we?
We certainly did. We had great weather. We had some beautiful leaves and beautiful color around us. And plus we found some really cool sights.
Yeah, and the people were very responsive. That was we were kind of worried about that. We didn't know how people would feel about just walking in there with brochures and whatnot. But actually they were very receptive. Mm-hmm. So let's take a look at the first place that we stopped at was this place right here.
It was called Huttopia.
Huttopia.
Huttopia. It was in Sanford, Maine. When we got there, it was very quiet because, as they informed us, basically after Labor Day, their season is very slow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was pretty interesting. They were completely closed. There was there's nobody there that we could see. Even though it was a large, it was a fairly large establishment with a lot of different sections all hidden in the woods, and then a lake. But the only people there were people that were working. You could tell there was a small team of, I guess maintenance people. And this is what they look like. That's why they call it Huttopia. They look like huts. Some of them have a lot more wood, like this one. Others were almost all canvas. Like this one is canvas everywhere except this piece back there. Now we walked inside one of them, but that's about it. Basically, we walked around the whole grounds, but we didn't take a lot of pictures. We walked into one of these. That's right. You know, the one that had the glass doors.
Right. Yeah. It was 2 bedrooms. It was we'll call it the main bedroom, and then there was a smaller bedroom with bunk beds in it. It had a small kitchen area and it had a bathroom.
Yeah.
Now, that's one of the things that we found, that not all of these structures have bathrooms. They do have bathhouses that are
right. A lot of these have no bathrooms in them. And this is common. This is in a lot of places.
Right.
There's actually, if you look at this hut here, the Canadien, I guess is how they're pronouncing it. There's nothing. There's no bathroom in there. You have to walk to the central bathhouse for the bathroom and everything else. Mm-hmm. We don't have pictures here for some reason of the lake, but we found it to be a nice place. And what we're looking at is that this one was pretty uniform in their style. So the chances of them to want to broaden out and say, put in a section there in the woods of our dream domes, I kind of doubt it. I think they're kind of set. However, they might want to. It seems to be a fairly large company. They have other of these utopias, so they might want to say put a different name, call them space domes or something. And we're going to talk more about that, some of the possibilities we see.
Right.
But this one was pretty uniform. Everything had a certain style, and it was uniform throughout the resort, which was pretty big. It's a pretty big camping place. Mm-hmm. So now we will go to the next place that we stopped at was this one.
Right. It was called Sandy Pines Campground. And as you can see from these pictures, it had quite a few different approaches. They had tents. They also had RV.
Remember this one? This was facing the lake. This one also had a lake, but for some reason they're not showing pictures of it. but that's
Right.
what the whole purpose of this one. It looks out into the lake. They were very nice. But again, during winter, I don't know how they would work. And these seem to be like they were for day events. Like you weren't really supposed to spend the night in these. This is the wagon, the kind of Conestoga wagon. Remember we saw that?
Mm-hmm. Right. They had what they called tiny houses. They had cottages. Mm-hmm. They also had RV and tent sites if you wanted to come and pitch your own tent there. They had a pool, as you can see, and just a number of different options.
And so this is the kind of place that, because they have a swimming pool, when you first drive in, the swimming pool's up on your right, but all the camping stuff is actually down a ways. But it was very nice. We liked it. And what we could see for the domes is that they have such a kind of potpourri of different kinds of accommodations that they could easily fit a certain section and call it the starry domes, the starry sky domes, whatever. Mm-hmm. But this one was nice. We liked it. Not as much as some of the others, but we liked it.
Okay, let's move on to the next one that we saw.
Yeah, this was an interesting one.
It's
didn't actually see.
Right. It's called Topsail Farm.
Yeah, the Topsail Farm. Really nice people. They were we met. I think she was the owner, right?
Or at least the general manager of that property.
And she took the brochures, looked them over. She was very impressed. We had a nice talk with her. They're pretty thematic in that everything that they have is buried in the woods and looks like this, which you're seeing right there. Mm-hmm. So it's thematic. It's rustic. It's on the farms. I don't know how we would fit in, but she seemed to think that we might. She didn't come out and say, "Oh, that's not our style." Not at all, right?
No, this was the one where she actually suggested that it might be something they could install for their employees, because this particular area of Maine has the cost of living there is going up, and the summer people who come to work, quite frequently, they have a difficult time finding lodging that they
exactly. That's right. I forgot that was her. That was her that brought that up.
Exactly.
And she said these could be very useful. When she asked us the price, and she said that she was considering that, if not her, some other people might want to set up an employee kind of community, and possibly for because it's seasonal, right? Maine is very seasonal. That's what they meant. She meant for seasonal employees that come in for the season and then leave.
Right.
So that's something.
Like so many of these kinds of sites, they bring college students in from all over the country, all over the world for that matter, a lot of times. So they need some place to be able to put them up, some kind of lodging.
Yeah, I stuck my foot in my mouth. Remember at the first place, Utopia, I asked her if she was from Germany, and she was from France.
Yes.
I don't know how I got that wrong,
but so this was in this particular site, they tend to do events. That's their big thing is as an event venue. They do weddings and corporate retreats and family reunions, and they really encourage people to come and take over the whole site.
Exactly. So they call it that, the takeover.
They call this
property takeover. This is the section we walked in right there. That's where we met her and we were talking to her.
Yeah, and then they have the various lodging are all scattered throughout the woods. So it was an interesting.
They're in a section, actually. She said they're in a section all back there. Mm-hmm. And so everybody can be like in a community.
Right.
But it's all rustic.
Yeah. We were not able to go back and look at them because they already had guests for that weekend.
Who had rented the whole place out.
That had rented the place, right. They were preparing for a wedding even as we were talking with them. All right, let's move on to our next property.
And again, that was very interesting that she brought that up, that these domes could be for employee communities as well as for glamping events. So here we have, this is one of our favorite ones, Sea Sport.
Sear Sport.
I'm sorry, Sear Sport. And this is their ocean front. It's not a lake. It looks like it's a lake, but it's not. This is the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
the inlets. And what was very unique about this site is that they are a complete cultural center. They bring in artists for like weeks at a time. They have a stage for music and crafts. We bought some things there, didn't we? And there,
Right. We bought some soap. We bought some honey. They actually have these artists in residence for a week at a time. And
yeah.
then they have classes, art classes, music classes, any number of things, activities for adults and children. You can see the view there. It's beautiful. They obviously have the typical canoeing and paddleboarding and all that sort of thing.
Let's see, here's the artist in residence programs, Maine vacation ideas, blah, blah, blah. But we met the lady at the, here you see people playing music, and there's a stage. And what we noticed, the lady that we talked with was one of the managers, and she was managing the store at the time. And it was, I think she said this was their last week. That the season was pretty far along, almost to the point that there'd be very few people there. But there were still a good number of people, and she really liked the domes. She even told us where to walk, where she thought the domes would fit in real nice along the ocean front. There was this long strip that actually didn't have much on it, and
those were tent sites where people could pitch their own tent. They also had places for RVs. They had tents that were already fixed in place, and then they had some cabins, cottages. So they had just about everything there.
Right, and was real. And like I said, the real interesting thing to me too was that they put a lot of attention on culture, on the place being a place for music and the arts and crafts. Real nice people. We didn't get to meet the owners. They weren't there at the time that we saw their house, but they have a kind of their own.
Well, they had a nice little house there on the property, and they're there apparently during the summer, but they were not there when we were there.
So if you're up in Maine, we definitely recommend. Well, we recommend all the places we saw. We liked them a lot, but this one I particularly liked. I really liked the whole feel of it. So then we go on to. This was one of those KOAs.
Right. It's called Bucksport Fort Knox KOA. Right.
And what we noticed is that they're another potpourri. They have everything. In fact, this is the place that actually had a geodesic dome. They don't have a picture of it, but when you first come in, we saw it over to our left. They were just building it. They hadn't used it yet. And they were putting it together. It
was still under construction. Hadn't quite finished it out. And the other unfortunate thing is there was a huge RV coming in just as we got there, which kind of blocked all roads. So we were not able to go inside and really look around at what they had. But just checking out their website, we saw that just like the others, they had RV sites, they had tent sites, both fixed tents already there or a place that you could put your own tent, and they had cabins. And obviously they were interested in the whole dome idea. So
they really liked the brochures. She took it and looked them over with us. And they have a concentration, most of these are very family oriented. This place seemed to have a special attention towards kids.
Okay, we're not seeing their website right now. We're still seeing Spearsport.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry about that. You see it? Yeah, there it is. So they have they emphasize the young children a bit more than the others did. The others were more for a slightly older, teenagers and up. Though of course there's things for kids always, but this place actually tended to cater to them a lot more, as you can see with the trains, in the horseshoe spots. They had the monkey bars things and all that with swings. But a number of them had that. So anyways, this one was a nice place. We didn't spend too much time there. It was kind of, like she said, congested. So we looked through at the geodesic dome, and it was very curious. It was right up front. And she looked at our domes and thought, oh man, these are nice. I kind of think she's saying, no, I wish I'd seen these before. And now we go to our last one, which is this was a really nice place. It's called Under Canvas. Tell them about it, Dan.
Well, as the name would imply, they were all canvas tents of one form or another. But this was a very upscale tent community.
Yeah.
They kind of rock a safari vibe. They have the rooms, the tents themselves have really beautiful furniture in them. Wood chests and, skins and just very, very upscale, rustic sort of, not primitive rustic, but a classy sort of rustic. And but you'll notice that everything is a canvas tent of one form or another. And
they're elaborate. They're very elaborate.
Right. And they had that right there is
that's the center. That's the administrative center, and it's really nice. I'm going to show you some pictures that we took from the inside, but it was very impressive. Well, here, this gives you a good idea. This is a good picture.
Plus, they also have a dining area and they have meals. Right. So, and from what we could see, they're very nice meals. We're not. Yeah,
there's a lounge, like a central lounge for people to hang out and have parties and events in. A dining area. There's a cafe, a coffee house, and all of that is in this whole central piece, which is all interconnected. Really nicely done. Now, this place was not inexpensive, that's for sure.
Not inexpensive is probably a very understated way of saying it, but and they have sites. They have about 6 or 8 sites around the country. And as we were walking around the area, and I was reading from their brochure, not really paying attention to who else was around us, there was a gentleman coming down the path toward us. And just as he got to me, he made a comment about one of the other sites being really a fabulous site, one that's out in Utah. So he obviously visits these sites more than once, and he was impressed enough to come to another one. So
yeah, we explored their website, and they're all over the country. There was like 4 or 5 or 6 of them, and but this is the theme of the canvas. So if they were to suddenly take a look at our domes, and the upper management somewhere would say, "Oh, we want to do a new theme someplace else," this size of company might be interested in doing that to expand their repertoire, so to speak.
And in this particular location, nearly all of their tents have private bathrooms, showers, bathrooms, the full thing. They do have an option for what they call a kids tent. So if you were to get like a tent and then you get the kids tent to keep the kids separate from you, those tents did not have bathrooms, but all of the others did have private bathrooms.
Right, exactly. There was no communal bath and communal toilets like in all the others that we saw. This every single unit was self-contained. It was very, very nice. So this brings us to a kind of an idea here. I was just playing with the idea of what about a company, let's say like Under Canvas or some other organization. They like the domes, or you are a viewer, you're an investor, or you have a company, and you'd want to do a theme that the domes would fit into specifically well. One of them, of course, would be a music festival, and we've thought a lot about that, of approaching some of the music festival people. But I really love, of course, Elon Musk and SpaceX. So I looked into this island here called Padre Island, which is right off of, I'll put the map here. Hold on.
Yeah, it's located right South Padre Island, Texas. So it's in the Gulf.
Here, where you see the up here, where you see the kind of marker, that's the destination. That is the south end of the island, and here is SpaceX right here. So you would be seeing it beautifully from there. And of course, we know you can see it beautifully from there because we're going to show you. They have a this is it's basically a promotional for SpaceX, but not for SpaceX, but actually for the Padre Island and South Padre Island to be specific.
Mhm.
And you can see people lined up watching takeoffs.
This is actually an RV park that's
No.
geared specifically. Well, I won't say it's geared
I'll put it
specifically.
right there. So if you see it in a minute, you'll see that behind them is in fact. Oh, that's a wow! Yeah, I'm glad I went back to that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Later on in this video, you'll see that you're looking at the backs of the people. Behind them is a small kind of alley road, and behind that is an RV park. So what we're saying is that a starry sky, glamping, call it whatever, but to a whole community like an RV park, except or a glamping right there on the island. And I looked around at the island through their promotional materials and saw there's still a lot of land there, and somebody could put together a whole campground just of our dream domes. And imagine it would be really beautiful if they're up on platforms and you can see these launches. And that really appeals to me. That's why I went into it. I love it. But at any rate, so that's what this that's what our little discussion is about today. It's simply giving ideas for people who are interested in the business itself. And we'll be doing more and more updates. For instance, if you order numbers, what's the best way to put them together? Because we're going to be exploring that ourselves, because we're going to be building our own up on our land. So, anyways, love to hear from you all. If you have any questions or whatnot, you can leave them in the comments. But what else?
Well, we're going to be taking another trip soon. We're going to head in a southward direction to check out some of the glamping sites down in the southeast, which there seem to be quite a few of those. And we really want to kind of, in this video, talk about what you could do if you were interested in this. And, you know, there are things that you can obviously add to your property if you want to attract more people. You know, things very, very classic things like hot tubs and saunas, fire pits. Obviously, private bathrooms are, I don't know, to us,
we think they're kind of like, for this kind of dome, not to have the private bathroom. But again, it depends on what you want to do. But we really think that they're more upscale, and I would go, and we can talk about that with you or anybody who wants to talk about that, the pros and cons. And I'm going to have a video on that actually. And but these domes, the dream domes, and I always call them the star capsules. They easily accommodate bathrooms.
Right. Either an internal bathroom or an external bathroom that's attached by way of a little passageway. So there are a lot of different options here. But if you're really interested in this sort of thing, I mean, there are so many different things that you can, you know, thematically put out there to as Gerard mentioned, you know, a space type environment, or, you know, up on the mountains, just whatever approach you think you'd like to take.
A sky view theme where you have a central place with I've seen these before where they have really nice telescopes so you can look at the stars at night. That's a nice theme. Of course, the fire pits, like you said, entertainment, you know, have a cultural center around it. In this sense, they really fit in well with anything that has to do with electronic dance music or spacey music, or really anything. I think even classical would go really well.
And, you know, the whole sky gazing, stargazing, you can gaze from inside the dome. You don't have to go outside if it's cold, if it's raining, if it's whatever it's doing.
Exactly.
You're in a completely transparent dome if you open all the curtains up so that you can see everything that there is to see. It kind of takes the whole stargazing thing to a different level.
And the central place, like we saw with the under canvas, you can make a beautiful series of linked domes of different sizes, and like a big dining room dome, cafe dome, a study, a place for people to sit around and lounge and read. We really got some great ideas looking at the under canvas, because their central campsite was actually like, it wasn't an architecture different from where people were staying. It was the same architecture, and they did a really, really good job with it. And that theme lends itself very well to the dream domes, because you can attach as many as you want in different configurations. So your administration center, your gathering center can all be dream domes as well.
Exactly. So I guess that's what we have to tell you today. And we're planning on doing a series of these videos pertaining to glamping, different aspects of it, cost, revenue, just, enhancements, everything that you can think of. So, keep checking back with us for those videos that we'll be doing periodically. And we're glad you could join us today. And you'll see.
We'll have a spot for the old, as they accumulate. If you look at the blog, you will see a place where you can, up here, do you see the blog? That's where we have 3 blogs going. One of them will be these updates that have to do with the glamping business. The other one will be Diana, her explorations of different interiors and things, and accessories that you can buy, you can put in the domes, things that novelty items, really functional items and aesthetic items. And then the 3rd blog will be our story of actually building the dome on the mountain we live in. So I think that covers about everything, doesn't it?
I think so.
Okay, well then, until next time.
Bye.
From Dream Domes USA.